If you've ever wished you had a podcasting pro with nearly a decade of experience whispering growth secrets into your ear, that's exactly what you'll get when you tune into Podcast Growth Tools with me, your host, Kylie Chandler. This is the ultimate show for you if you're ready to grow your podcast audience, skyrocket engagement, and turn your show into a traffic-driving, list-building powerhouse. I've been in the podcasting world since 2015, helping creators like Amy Porterfield grow their shows to over 1 million downloads a month. My superpower? Breaking down proven podcast strategies and marketing techniques into step-by-step guidance you can actually implement without fluff, overwhelm, or guesswork. On this show, we're getting real about what actually moves the needle when it comes to growing your podcast audience and using it to boost your email list growth. From actionable insights and expert interviews to behind-the-scenes secrets, I'll help you turn your podcast into a traffic-driving, list-growing machine. Grab your earbuds, hit subscribe, and let's take your podcast to the next level. Hey, welcome back to the Podcast Growth Tools podcast, where we dive into actionable strategies to grow your podcast audience and streamline your marketing efforts. I'm Kylie Chandler, and today we're getting into a nifty little tool that can make it easier for your audience to not only find your show on Apple Podcasts, but have a direct link to follow you on Apple Podcasts, and that's something called a deep link. Now, I've been in the podcasting industry for many years, and I always wished there was a way that I could give people a direct link to click the follow button on Apple. It used to be subscribed, now it's follow. And I wanted that because instead of sending them just to a show link and hoping they'd follow, I wanted to give them something super direct. Well, that's actually called a deep link, and it's something that you can easily create. It'll literally take you a couple seconds. So if you're up for making it so simple for Apple users to go straight to your podcast and follow with a single click, this episode is perfect for you. I'll walk you through what a deep link is, why it's effective for gaining new followers and using it in your marketing, and most importantly, how to create one step by step. So grab your notebook and let's get started. Also, for those of you on YouTube, stick around till the very end. I'm going to screen share exactly how to do this. All right, so let's start with the basics. As I said in the intro, a deep link is a URL that takes users directly to your podcast page on Apple Podcasts. Think of it like a shortcut that removes all extra steps, making it easier for listeners to not only find your show, but immediately follow your show. So why should we care? Well, as a podcaster, as a marketer, as an entrepreneur, convenience drives clicks. The easier that you make it for your audience to access your content, the more likely they are to hit play, the more likely they are to follow. So let's break it down in 4 simple steps. Step 1, access your podcast RSS feed. So first things first, log into your podcast hosting platform, whether you're on Libsyn, Podbean, something like Megaphone. You can do this on Apple, Spotify directly, and you're going to navigate to your podcast show that you want to promote. Once you found it, copy the RSS feed for your show. This is the starting point for creating your deep link. Step 2, we're going to modify the URL. So this is where the magic happens. Open up a browser or a text editor, paste your show's RSS feed into it, and then look for the prefix. So it'll start with HTTPS. Now, just replace that HTTPS with podcast. That's it. So this is before the colon and the /. So actually /, there's 2. So for example, if your show is HTTPS // podcast.apple.com, yada, yada, you are going to modify it to podcast : / podcast.apple.com. Same thing. Okay. That's it. You've just created a deep link. So next step, you got to test the deep link. You have to understand how it's working, right? So before sharing it, this is crucial. Go ahead and just paste that modified link into a browser, hit enter. If everything is set up correctly, the link should redirect you straight to your podcast on Apple Podcasts and then pop up with a box that says follow. I believe the button's purple, or cancel, and that's just like a gray button. And I do want to say, this is important. Deep links only work for Apple users, Apple devices. So please note that you want to still make sure that you're sharing your Spotify or your show notes or your player RSS feed, whatever it might be, whichever links you specifically use as a business and a podcaster. But I just wanted to make that note. And also the other thing, which is unfortunate but true, is that this only works for your show. So it doesn't work for an episode specifically. So just keep that in mind. However, it's still great to use across the board for marketing. And then, okay, next thing, last but not least, I'm an organization kind of person, so I have to tell you, next you have to save it before you share, right? Save and then share. So what I would recommend is that, especially if you have more than one podcast show, just create a quick spreadsheet in Google or something and then save your deep links there, just so that they're very, very easy to grab and use in your marketing, so that you don't have to go grab your RSS feed or from wherever you want to and then edit it. So save it somewhere easy, save it somewhere accessible, and then use it in your marketing materials, right? So use it in emails, use it in social media. You can even run ads to this, right? So it's kind of changing the games in terms of getting direct followers. Okay, so there you have it. Creating a deep link is a really quick, simple, and smart way to streamline your listener's journey. With just a few tweaks to your RSS feed, you're giving Apple users a direct line to follow your podcast. No barriers. If you found today's episode helpful, make sure to hit follow and leave a review. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're ready for more actionable tips like this, head over to podcastmarketinghub.com/subscribe for free resources and to get on my newsletter to help you level up your podcast. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and keep making your podcast the powerhouse it's meant to be. Now, YouTubers, join me as I share my screen. So first you have to grab your RSS feed. Copy the code. You're then going to go and drop it into just URL. You would change this to podcast, click, push open podcast, and then as you can see, it's going to give you the follow button, and then you can just click follow, and now you have a new follower. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and I highly recommend doing it. So please subscribe, share this show, and thank you so much for being here.